opportunity to teach power session number 12, finding seller leads. Yay!
Super
Who's
important.
excited?
Yay.
It is super important. And
It
that's
is.
why I'm excited about presenting this class. Now, and here's kind of the catch-22. What's easier to get, buyers or sellers?
Buyers.
It's easier for buyers.
Buyers, why?
There's more of them typically.
Okay, more of them. What
They
else?
don't interview as rigorously.
Not only do they not interview us, they call you, don't they?
Yes.
Most of the time they call us. So that's a lot easier than having to go find them. Okay, and they don't interview. Typically a buyer will work with a first agent that'll give them time of the day, that
Yeah.
sounds professional, that they feel comfortable will represent them well. So that makes it challenging, especially as a newer agent. Do we have any newer agents here? Okay, great. And here's the catch-22. After managing and coaching for many, many years, it's really a catch-22. Okay, since buyers are easier to get, okay, that's typically going to be your first sale. And you're typically going to have more buyers, so you're going to want to work with more buyers. And that takes time away from finding sellers. Yes. Do you know the number one best way to find great buyers? Have great listings. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you see the catch-22?
Yeah.
So it's easier to get buyers, you start working with them, and now that consumes most of your time and energy where you're not dedicating time to find sellers. And that's the problem. Okay, why is that an issue?
Because you can service, I think it's 8 buyers or up to 30 listing of a high functioning agent.
Okay. So where'd you get that from?
The Matt Sutter Business Planning
All right.
Seminar in December.
Awesome, great memory. Yes, so you can service a lot more sellers than you can do buyers. For those that weren't at the Matt Sutter Business Planning, why is that the case? Why can you service 30 listings and only 8 buyers?
Because buyers, you have to put them in your car and it takes so much time.
Correct. You gotta put them in your car. You can show the buyer the exact house they shared with you that they wanted, and it doesn't mean that they'll buy. And they'll give you a reason like, I just don't feel it.
My dad doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, my dad doesn't like it, yeah. So there's ways of minimizing that, so bring that up later. So you can show them everything that you want. If they don't feel it, if something's not right, and it's really kind of hard to have an objection handler of, well, it doesn't feel right. You can ask a little deeper questions, well, what is it specific that you don't like? Sometimes it's a feeling. A lot of times you'll see when buyers walk into a house, you'll see them, you'll see their body language, you'll see that they really like the home. And sometimes it's not the home that we think is the best home. Okay, but it's also, we're not buying it. It doesn't fit our needs. Okay, and that's also another thing on a side note, be careful of what you say.
Right.
You know, I was showing a home and it had this buffalo carpeting, and the buyer's like, wow, look at this carpeting. And I was about to say something about, yeah, it's horrible. I go, oh, we love it.
That just happened to me at the open house I did on Sunday.
Yes, silence is golden, yes.
Right.
So, you know, don't say too much because you might not like
Yeah.
it. But again, it's not your house, you're not buying it, you don't have to like it. But don't give your opinion on decor and colors and things like that. Because that's a good way of not getting a sale. All right, so back on focus about why it's so important working with sellers. Okay, and it's leverage. That's the number one name of the game when working with sellers is leverage. So why is leverage a factor in working with sellers? Again, it goes back to the question, why can we work with 30 sellers versus 8 buyers? Leverage. What are we leveraging?
The MLS.
The MLS, meaning?
We're basically cultivating and getting that listing there, and then all the buyer's agents are helping us sell it.
That's the biggest thing. Okay, you have a great listing, and when I mean great listing, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to have all these great features. It's got to be priced right. Okay, because if it's priced right, you put it in the MLS, it's going to show. Okay, you don't need to be here for that property to be shown. You can be on vacation. You can be with your family. Okay, but the leverage part is you have thousands of other agents that are trying to sell that home for you. All right, so it's more time that we put in up front of finding these sellers, of cultivating these sellers, of learning our scripts, our dialogues, and learning pricing. So it's a lot more effort up front and a lot easier later. Okay, that's why you can work with so many sellers versus, only a few buyers. Okay, I'm not saying buyers are bad. No, buyers are good. It should take about 40%. About if we look at our percentages of buyers versus sellers in this market, a good business plan is having about 40% of your income coming from buyers and 60% coming from sellers. A few years ago, we were probably more at a 50-50 pace. Okay, where we had all this inventory, all right, where we had a lot more sellers than we did buyers. Then, maybe it would even be reversed. However, if you're still pricing the right property, it's still sold. But 60-40 is a good split now, 60% of your listings. Because if you focus on that, the buyers are going to come automatically. You don't have to look for them. All right, if you have your listings, you're automatically going to get buyers. And a lot of times you can pick up 2 buyers for 1 listing sometimes.
Yeah.
Because if your seller's making a move, it just happened to me. It's kind of funny. I share that story, but the reality is it just happened to be last month on the 30th. They sold on the 30th and bought on the 31st of March. All right, what happened where I sold their house, they bought a house, and I picked up a buyer who actually not a buyer just for other properties. I double dipped that property. So I had 1 listing and I got 2 other buyer sales from that. Obviously that's not going to always happen, okay? But if you have teams, that can, okay? Because we have dedicated buyer's agents working specifically with those buyers. All right, so that's really very important that we need to be very clear the importance of sellers, okay? And so if you want to be in more control over your time, it's going to be sellers for all the reasons we talked about, okay? Because you don't need to meet with the seller on the weekend.
Right.
Every weekend.
Right.
All right? So it's critical. So any questions at that point? Because if we don't agree on that, none of this other stuff's going to matter. Fair enough? All right. So let's take a look and dive in to 12-4. Okay, getting your head in the game. Let's see. So who wants to read the Chris Heller in that box? Who can read that before me?
All right.
Thank you.
Chris Heller, mega agent and president of KW Worldwide, San Diego, California, has focused his lead generation on sellers over many years of being a top-selling agent in the San Diego, California area. I learned early on to focus entirely on getting listings and getting them sold, he says. I never really made a conscious effort to find buyers because the listings attracted them, and that's how my team operates to this day. Buyers for us are like bees attracted to honey. Our business is finding and selling listings, but when the buyers show up, we convert them and sell them listing or another home.
Makes sense? Okay. All right, let's take a look at action plan 12-5 on the next page. So 5 things we're going to cover today. Understand what drives top agents to focus their business on getting and selling listings. Second, discover the 6 main sources of sellers. That's going to be a fun topic.
Yes.
3, learn effective strategies and scripts for approaching each type of seller. Also, last week, there was a packet of information that
Yes.
I passed out to you guys.
Yep.
All right, if you didn't get that, see me, because I don't see any other copies on there. But that really talks about all 6, or all different types of sellers that we need to be calling. 4, real play, call expired listings. I don't know if we'll have time for that today. But also I want to show you a video of somebody calling an expired listing. All right, and 5, walk away with a plan of action for building seller business. So if you cover those things today, are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, anything else? What else do you want to get out of today's finding the seller leads? Anything else that would be beneficial?
It's anything that'll help me add to what I do know.
Perfect, add to what you're doing now, okay. All right, what else?
I think a good script for calling.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, perfect, a good script for calling, got it. Anything else? Okay. So calling who?
Calling either, obviously, we're going to talk about different leads, but for sale by owners and expireds, And also circle prospecting
Okay.
around where we've just sold.
Absolutely, great. All right, 12-6, making it happen. So you'll quickly learn the fundamental difference between finding buyers and finding sellers. Okay, and it's actually exactly what we talked about is that catch-22. It's so much easier to find buyers. So when you first got into business a year and a half ago, how long has it been now, 2 years?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
18 months.
A lot easier finding buyers. Okay.
That's the way I was going about it.
So tell me, how are you going about it?
Well, I was doing stuff for other people, doing their sign calls.
Okay.
So that's
All right, so doing sign calls
doing
for
sign
other
calls for
people.
other people.
So why were you doing sign calls for other people?
It just seemed 18 months ago that our office was really, really humming, and that people had more business than they knew what to do with. And so it was just a matter of going to bigger teams and bigger, and saying, you know, scraps.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the reason I asked that because what you were doing is textbook case of what many new agents do. And that's
Well,
just,
that's what I was.
that's the
Well,
process
same thing
of
with
it.
the open house. I did open houses for other people. I basically leveraged other people's business.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't have any. So I like, well, they have it and I don't have it, and they don't even want to go after that part anyways.
Correct.
So it's
Why
a
not?
win-win.
Right, sure.
It's a win-win if I can, you know, convert something for them. It allowed me to also, they had skin in the game because they were gonna get a little something off of it. And now I had someone who would probably give me a little more help, like I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So I was like, I'm selling your listing, or I picked up this buyer for you. So it's sort of like a consulting buyer agent when you do that.
Yeah, because that's an easier way of getting business. So the harder way, especially as a new agent, is going out and finding the sellers. So you have to be careful. You want to make sure you're dedicating a certain percentage of every day towards finding the seller leads. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Let's see here. So knowing what sellers want. Obviously, if we know what they want, what sellers are looking for, we're better suited to provide that. It reminds me of when I was going in college. I'll be honest, in high school and college, I was pretty much a C's for degrees type guy. In high school, I was a good student, but I just didn't like doing homework and I didn't really push myself. Had a few years break, probably 6 years. I went back for my MBA, which as an undergrad, never thought I'd do. Went back for my MBA and older, wiser, and realized that if I just find out what the instructor, what the teacher wants, and just give that to them, all right, I'm going to do well. Doesn't matter if I agree with it or not, finding out what they're looking for. And I got a 3.9. And which again, coming from C's from degrees to 3.9, a huge difference. The biggest thing was finding out what they wanted. Okay, if you can provide that, you're going to do well. So a big part of what sellers are looking for, and also this is from the National Association of Realtors, their profile of home buyers and home sellers. They do it every couple of years. This one's a little outdated, but typically the numbers are going to be about the same. Obviously, they're looking for, sellers are looking for help pricing homes competitively, help finding the buyer, it's kind of a no-brainer, help marketing the home to buyer, help selling a specific time frame. So those are all pretty close, anywhere from 19 to 23%. So those are the 4 main points sellers are looking for. Others are looking for ideas and strategies of what they need to do to fix up. And I'll use that one a lot, especially if they're not looking to do anything maybe for 6 months or next year. Say, why don't I come over, take a look at the property, and see what type of updating they want to do. Okay, this is saying that they plan on doing some stuff.
Right.
Because what I hate for you to do is if you can't put a nickel in to get a dime out, it's probably not worth doing. Because sellers don't always realize, they think, okay, if I put in $10,000, I'm going to get $20,000. Maybe, but not always. So we have a better idea of what's good, what's a good return on their investment.
What are your top 3 return on investment?
Depends on the property. Painting and landscaping are 2 of the biggest.
And carpet.
Carpeting, yeah, depending how bad the carpeting is, yeah. Sometimes in older homes, they'll remove the carpeting and if the wood floors are okay. That's a little bit risky, and I always tell them up front, especially if they haven't seen the hardwood. Okay, because you don't know if there's,
Spain.
yeah, something, so.
It'd be a bigger project.
Small upgrades to kitchen and bathroom, not major remodels, but typically small upgrades if possible. Like the door, the fixtures, especially coming in, making sure all that stuff shines. Good cleaning is always important. Decluttering. When I sold my house, actually, I rented a storage unit. So my house was 7 years old. We built it. Had a lot of stuff. Okay, and it wasn't necessarily in the main rooms, but like in the basement, in the garage. So I rented a 10 by 10 storage unit and almost filled it up.
Closets half full and stuff.
Yeah, closets half full. All those Christmas stuff, all the seasonal stuff, get rid of. And it was a good investment. And then I spent probably, because again, the house was only 7 years old, so there wasn't a whole lot of things that needed updating. We probably spent like $700 at a couple of the Target and Home Goods and kind of spruced it up with fresh linen and towels and to make it look sharp. I mean, when you're working with sellers, I sometimes take them if the house needs some sprucing up. If take them to a new construction open house, a model home. What do you see? What do you smell? What don't you smell?
Right.
Okay, so you really, and also sometimes if they have lots of photos, take them down. Because how many times do you see the buyers, or they're looking at the photos on the wall versus looking at the property?
Like you're in someone else's
Yeah,
home.
yeah, it's like you're sitting in somebody else's home. So having a view is good. Having a whole wall full is probably too much. Taking stuff down off the refrigerator. I mean, we have kids, so our refrigerator's full of stuff stuck to it. But when we sold, we took it all down. Okay, there was hardly anything on our counters. And we share with the sellers how we live in a home and how we sell our home are two completely different ways.
Right.
Selling your home isn't necessarily an easy process. Hiring me, I'm going to help make it as easy as possible. But there's certain things that I'm going to require of you, and of course that you're going to require of me. So when I sit down once we have the listing, we have this discussion that this is a team effort. Okay, so here's what they can expect of me, here's what I'm going to expect from them, and why that's important. So you explain to them this is in their best interest to maximize what they get for their home, have it sell quickly. And these small things make a difference. Many times it's like painting that front door, getting a new mailbox. Because when an agent is with clients, they walk into the door, they're getting a lockbox combination, getting the key out. What's the buyers doing?
All around.
Right. Okay, and that's their first impression. Don't put the lockbox on the side door. Okay, put it on the front door. Because you want them to come in, and you want them to see the home, not the garage, not the laundry room or the mud room. You want to see them in the front door walking in. That's going to be a much better experience than the side door. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but if at all possible, when I was showing my home or when people were showing, I would run home, I would turn on all the lights. Okay, I had dimmers on most of the lights, so we'd dim them a little bit. I had music playing. It was in February. I'd have the 2 fireplaces on. You want it to be that experience of when you walk in. And very inviting, very warm. Open houses, a lot of times I'll get the pre-cut cookies, and I'll throw them in the oven and make a couple batches of cookies. Potential buyers will stick around that island or that kitchen more eating those cookies. 2, it smells good. Just smells like home. All right, on a tangent, but anyways.
Guys, just quickly, as a new agent, what concerns me is going into seller's home, making these recommendations and not having a handful of people in my pocket for carpet, for paint. How do you, as a new agent, establish vendors that you can, give to your seller and know that they're good?
That's a great question. So thank you for bringing that up. So we have preferred vendors that we work with. Okay, these preferred vendors are recommended from your other agents in the office. Okay, that they do good work, that they're reliable, that they charge a fair price. Okay, because we're not looking for vendors that just want to pay us money to be a preferred vendor. Okay, we want them to be good so we can recommend them to other people. Just like, we want to hear from you. If you know somebody that's a rock rock star in whatever field they're in, whether if it's, you know, electrical or plumbing or drywall or painting, landscaping, whatever it is, they're sharp. All right, so that's one way of getting that information. And two is just talking to your fellow agents, because maybe they know people that just are not on the preferred vendor, but are still good people. Because I know my contractors, I'm happy to refer them, and I want to refer them because they do a good job for me. I want to provide value to them too, and they can refer me too. Great question. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. So let's go on to 12-7. Meet seller expectations. And again, it goes back to the previous page. If we know what the sellers want, if we know what they're looking for, you know, then we can provide that. Also, when I sit down, before I get into the listing presentation with my sellers, I ask them, you know, Mrs. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for having me over. I'm excited about being here, talking about getting your property on the market and getting it sold. Before we begin, I just want to get a better idea from you. How are you going to pick the agent that you hire for selling your home? I mean, if I know they're having, because I asked them, are you going to do more than one agent? So I already know that going into it. Okay, that's in my pre-qualification questions. Okay, and some people kind of cringe and say, well, why would you put that in their head? Well, 9 times out of 10, it could be in their head already. I just want to be better prepared. Who am I up against? And if they are interviewing more than one person, I say, great. You know, who is that? All right? Typically 9 times out of 10, they will tell me who it is. And sometimes that'll determine if I want to get in there sooner or if I want to get in there later for that appointment. Why would that matter? Why do sometimes I want to be the first person or the last person? Any guess?
There's good competition, you want to be first and close the deal. There's bad competition, you want to go last and
Correct.
break the rubric.
Correct. If I was going into an appointment and I knew I was competing against any of the pages that you saw up there teaching the class, okay, or others, I'll probably want to go first. Because if they go first, I might not have the opportunity to get in there. Okay. So, I mean, I've received those calls. Hey, Lloyd, it's top agent. Just want to let you know, listed the property over on Gilman Street. So I know they have an appointment with you, no need. So, yeah, I've gotten that call. I've had to make those calls too. Okay, because if I'm meeting with a client and they have other appointments and they're comfortable with me,
You're going to try to do the same thing.
right. I said, no problem. I'll call Jeff. Okay, not a problem at all. I'll let him know he can bring his buyers through. Okay. And they're like, okay, great. So be careful when you make those calls. Be nice. Because odds are, you're going to get those calls. It's just part of the business.
I try to guilt them into absolutely promising me beforehand.
Oh, so yes.
Guilt them into promising me beforehand.
Yes.
No matter what, you will absolutely give me my at-bat.
Yes. So when you're
So I
doing,
don't want to ever get one of those calls.
yeah, you will. You'll get it, but that's okay. But it's great that you ask them that. You get their commitment. Okay. I'd say more getting their commitment than guilting into it, but to each their own. But yes,
It works, baby.
if you know that they're going to be talking to other people, and for some reason you're the last one.
Well, I just tell them that there's
Okay.
people like that will do that.
Yeah. So you're setting the stage.
Yeah, that you're going to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In that same situation, I would set the stage too. All right, next page, 12-8. Okay. Prepare for sellers. So there are 3 steps to prepare for seller business. Obviously, we're going to have to choose our area of specialization. So what are they talking about? Areas of specialization. How do we specialize?
Either in property type.
Property type, such as
Such as condo or
condos,
single family.
lake property, single family investment property, okay, multifamily, or price range, such as first-time home buyers, luxury homes. Right, how else can we specialize?
School districts.
School districts, absolutely. You specialize in a certain school district, you know everything about the schools, everything that's going on in the community, you're on it. What else? Demographics, okay, such as maybe people, the baby boomers that are retiring. Okay, demographics, what
Specific solutions.
Tell me more.
Such as downsizing. I can help you go from the large house to your next step and everything in between. So maybe your house is dated, we can address that problem. We can get your items boxed, sorted, certain things go to charity, certain things go to your kids. You know, kind of getting subcontractors that can help you with all those things, so you're one solution.
Absolutely, good. Anything else?
Corporate relocation.
Corporate relocation, absolutely. What else?
Specialize in different, like VA or.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so they do VA or military, or police departments, fire departments, teachers. Maybe you have a teaching background and you get a lot of connections with teachers. So those are all important ones. So figuring out, okay, what's your area of specialization. Number two, do your market research. Right? And knowing you're going to do certain areas with certain price points, you know, be the specialist on that. Know exactly how many homes are on the market, how many are selling, what's the turnover rate, the absorption rate. You know, having that, obviously, it's going to make you sound like you're a professional. You know the area or know the business. Which leads to number three, talk like a seller-focused professional. You can get started easily by focusing on this in your day-to-day routine. Again, knowing the numbers. Okay, B, study and practice your seller scripts. 12-9. Okay, also important things to know. So they lead into the scripts here. Inventory trend. So real estate markets are always about supply and demand. Did you know that X percentage of homes or X number of homes are listed for sale? That number has increased or decreased by X percentage in the past month and X percentage in the last year. Again, if you're not a numbers person, you gotta be a numbers person for this certain part. Not all in real estate, but when you're talking about sellers, you need to know, they need to feel comfortable, you know what you're talking about. So I had a conversation with a seller yesterday. All right, their home's been on the market for 3 weeks. We tried it at a higher price. Okay, we always try higher, it won't hurt.
How many?
I think it can. I think it
How many
can.
17. So not bad. This is also an interesting case there. Once they get an accepted offer, their relocation is going to buy them out.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to appraise, which is very, very unique. So it's a little bit different. However, knowing the numbers, I tell them, well, the last 4 homes that have sold all in 2 weeks. Okay, we're on 3 weeks going on 4. Okay, we have no offers. Okay, we had a conversation last week about it, and they just weren't ready. So, but now we're digging in deeper, and I'm getting those numbers to them of what does this tell us. Right?
Okay.
And whatever you can tell, you can ask questions. Selling is not telling. Selling is not telling, it's asking a series of important questions. Right? Because if we tell them, they don't necessarily believe us. If we ask them a question, okay, and they say it, they obviously believe it. Okay, who's in control? The one talking, or the one responding, or the one asking questions? Asking questions, absolutely. Why?
Please hear the conversation.
Just hearing the conversation. All right. Also, so you need to know that inventory trend, is it going up, is it going down? Average days on market, is it getting longer, is it getting shorter? Okay. Average days on market, what does that tell us?
Time frame.
Okay, time frame. Okay, it tells us, okay, what's the difference? How do we determine if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Well, the amount of homes on the market, the inventory available compared to the buyer.
Days on market, right?
Okay, that's
Supply
part of
and
it,
demand.
and that's the other part of it. Okay, and that's the total of the supply and demand. So basically, it's what determines supply and demand is the absorption rate. How quickly are they selling? Okay, so if houses are turning over very fast, what type of market is that?
Sellers.
It's a
Sellers.
seller's market, where we have more buyers than we do sellers. Okay, when houses are just sitting there, okay, it's a buyer's market.
Right.
Okay, and how we determine that is looking at the absorption rate, also the number of days on market. So if it's, 3 or less months on the market, it's a seller's market. They're selling pretty quick. Okay, 4 months is kind of a balanced market. If you get 5 months or longer, that's typically going to be a buyer's market. Buyers have more to choose from. It's taking longer to sell. All right. So again, knowing these numbers are critical. Okay. Let's see here. 12-10 going in obviously on pricing. Experts know that most markets at any time, price drives real estate. In fact, there are few, if any, problems in real estate that cannot solve, that price cannot solve. So here's my favorite line: price cures all. Thank you. Okay, price cures all. On a busy road,
No problem.
for the right price, someone's going to buy it. Some people like being on a busy road. It's interesting. I mean, not me. That's the last thing that I want. But there's a small percentage of people who would actually like being on a busy road. Okay, maybe not so much for being on the road. Some of that is they like the good deal. Okay, house smells like dog. Price cures all. House needs updating. Price cures all. Okay, so it is critical. Location, we always heard about this. 3 most important things about real estate is I would say Lloyd. All right. Condition, to a large extent, selling a home, and I love telling sellers this is a price war and a beauty contest. It's a price war and a beauty contest, right? So it's a price war that we're competing against other sellers. All right, it's a beauty contest because we need to have the nicest home, so they choose your home. So that's always a challenge. And we probably won't have time to talk about it today. I know we're not. But when you get into pricing, you have to realize that when you're doing a market analysis, it also depends on what type of market it's in. But so many sellers, when you present your market analysis and you present to other similar homes, they want to line up with those other sellers. Well, if these 3 people are priced here, I think our house is a little bit nicer, we'll price it here too. Well, the problem that creates is there's, in the eyes of a buyer, there's no clear best choice. So now I have 4 homes, they're all about the same price, all about the same features. Which one do we buy? Which one do we buy? So I'm always encouraging, my sellers to have a better value, either better price or more features and benefits for the same price. Many times if they have more features and benefits, they want to add that to the price. Okay, now you're just lining up with the competition. So we know statistically in the next 30 to 40 days, we'll probably have 1 sale in here. That's what historically the numbers have told us. So do you want that person buying your neighbor's house or buying your house? Because at this price, I'm not sure which one's going to sell first. Sometimes when we're going looking at these numbers, a lot of times you can say, well, here's the best value. Odds are this one's going to sell first because of these things. Do you want them to take your buyer? So again, we can't have that discussion if we're not familiar with all of these statistics. All right, now the fun part. 11-12, lead generation for sellers. So we talked about it earlier when we got started here. The importance of having, of looking and finding the sellers, having that 60 to 40% split. All right, so we need to be focusing on 4 major sources. First, our database, which is called our COI, which stands for Center of Influence. Sometimes it's SOI, which is Sphere of Influence. The database, it's all the same. Number 2, business-to-business leads. All right, we talked about earlier about getting referrals from your vendors. That's business-to-business leads. How else can we get business-to-business leads? Networking. Okay. Networking such as
Like a BNI or a
BNI.
happy hour mixer.
Happy hour mixer. Okay. And another one that's not necessarily business-to-business, but it's very similar. It's being in different types of civic organizations. Getting involved. I'm a huge believer that we get by giving. So the more I can give to different types of organizations, to the community, I just believe the world just returns that. Typically there's a multiplier in that too. And I'm not doing it to expect business. I'm doing it because I want to contribute. All right, and also when I'm doing it, I want to do it in a way of, especially like different types of civic organizations. Sometimes I'll be out doing this, I'm not getting paid, I got a lot of other things I can be doing. You know, we do it kind of, maybe not full, give it our full attention when we're there. What do you think they're going to think about you and your business? You're going to give it about that same type of commitment level. So when I'm doing these things, I want to make sure I'm giving it, at least during that time, my 100% time, effort, support. And it does. It pays off. For instance, we started a dance club. I had 2 little girls that are in elementary school. Elementary school is right in our neighborhood. And a little over 2 years ago, we started a dance club. So it's similar to the PTA, but a lot more fun and cool. We always joke around with the PTA. I mean, we work well with the PTA too. But it was designed to get more dads involved. It was also designed to support the Leader in Me program. So I don't know, is anyone familiar with the Leader in Me program? They don't call it a program, but it's the Leader in Me.
Right.
It's the Stephen Covey, 7 habits of highly effective people. So they implement that. I mean, I didn't learn that until I was in college in business school. All right, they implement this on a kindergarten level, and all the way through elementary school, and it costs thousands of dollars for this program, close to $20,000 every year. So we're paying for that and also contributing others. But it's really cool when your kindergarten comes home and talks about sharpening the saw, start with the end in mind, finding a win-win. It's just cool. But anyways, so I got involved in that, enjoy doing it, it's fun, raise money. 3 transactions in a year and a half came from that. Okay. And it probably could be more if I would do what I'm supposed to do and put them in my database, dribble on them. I don't. I will. I need to. Okay, but I'll be honest. Okay, so that was pretty much passive. Okay, 3 transactions. Okay, and just by being there. Okay, and I'm not shy about what I do, but also I'm not doing what I need to be by putting their names and stuff in my 33 touch.
But it's good because you have scheduled intentional meetings that you're involved with and you have a leadership role in, and you're able to prove that you're dependable, reliable, you're a credible person, and people get to know you on that level and they're drawn to you.
I think the drip then would make them question that what you're doing it for.
Right.
I would.
Yeah,
If it's a
that's
monthly
fine.
e-newsletter, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you feel uncomfortable with it, don't do it. I personally think that's a mistake because they know what I do and they know that I'm not, how I'm participating that I'm using them.
That's what I'm saying. I think that by not putting them on your drip,
Right.
that it's more authentic what you're doing.
I would disagree. I mean, anyone can have their opinion, and I respect your opinion, but just teaching.
I'll get there.
You just.
I'll get there. You've been doing it for years.
Yeah,
so
true. But I'm glad you bring that up because other people may be thinking the same thing. So I would challenge you.
Convince me.
Yeah, I'm not convince you. I just want to think about, because there's other business that I may have not got
Yeah,
because they
sure.
weren't thinking about me.
Sure. Oh, I've already missed them.
So how many are
They
you going
didn't
to
know.
miss to?
Because they didn't know.
Right, or they forgot.
No, they didn't even know.
Oh, okay, they didn't even know. Oh, you're secret agents.
I am.
Okay.
Ask
I got you. Okay. After a while, when you do that long enough, it gets really, really painful. Okay, not only just financially, but the realization that the person they hired is probably not as good as you. So, did you really help them?
Right.
You did. Right. Okay, so again, with me, it comes from contribution, and I wasn't always that way because I was always thinking about, well, I don't want to beg them for business. They're doing me a favor. No. Okay, if they have a need, I'm the best person to help them. Okay, not because I'm egotistical, but because I know I care about the business. I know I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to take care of them. I might not know everything about it, but I'm going to find out. Okay, they're in good hands with me. Okay, better than somebody else. So if I don't do that, okay, they could not know I'm in the business or forget I'm in the business, hire somebody else, they could lose money. So it comes from that contribution. I'll keep working on it. All right, so that was business to business, which got into these other civic organizations. And carefully, you also have to have the balancing act, because I found myself doing too much of that. So that there's got to be a balancing act, and that can take up a lot of time, and a lot of those organizations, you know, just be attached to you, and so you have to have balance. Pick one or two, okay, and I would caution you on doing more than that, because it always takes more time than you think it's going to take. All right, open houses. Wait a minute. Why is open houses under lead generating for sellers?
Neighbors.
Neighbors.
Buyers or sellers.
Buyers could be sellers, okay? Number one, neighbors. So one of my first questions I asked him, hi, you know, my name's Lloyd, kind of Williams, thanks for coming to my open house. So, which house is yours? All right, are you one of the neighbors? Because a lot of neighbors, they're coming in. Okay, they want to see, sometimes they're nosy, they just want to see the neighbor's house. Okay, sometimes they're also thinking about selling too, so they want to see, you know, what is their house, what kind of condition is their house in, how does it compare to my house, things like that. Okay, so that's a big one. Number 4, farming. Okay, number 5, for sale by owners, expires. All right, and also you can throw in that farming could be also circle prospecting, things like that. All right, so obviously the database we talked about, our 33 touch already, so creating campaigns, so it's always top of the mind of what you do. Okay, the biggest part of your 33 touch, the most important part of the 33 touch is?
Doing
Yep, talking to them once a quarter, just once a quarter. All right, will you get business if you don't do that? Yes. Will you get a lot more business by doing that? Absolutely. All right, business leads, we talked about get by giving. All right, so 12 dash, I think we're out of order here. Or I'm out of order here, so sorry. 12-12, talk about open houses. All right, so now if you're gonna do the traditional method of open houses, don't even bother. Okay, what do we mean by traditional method?
Just show up.
To show up.
Put a sign out the morning of.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes before the open house, and you're running around putting some signs up.
Level 1.
Directional signs, maybe. Okay, level 1. What do you mean by level 1? Did you guys talk about open houses already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
7th level.
7th level open house, okay? So if you're doing open house like that, fantastic, okay? Because really, when you're calling the neighborhood, letting them know, inviting them to the open house, maybe open up an hour if it's a real popular community, maybe invite them an hour beforehand for a private tour. Maybe have a few little things to snack on, okay? What kind of impact is that gonna have on the neighbors?
They're impressed.
Elevate.
They're impressed, yeah.
There's a sense of worth.
Right, because how often has that happened to them? Probably never.
Right.
All right, and you're demonstrating, going back to demonstrating who you are, what you do, before you even ask about business, which is the best way. All right, for farming, okay, there's a caveat with farming. Don't expect to send out, you know, a few hundred postcards and the phone's gonna start ringing. Okay, as they talk about here, it's a long term, so please underwrite it, highlight it, put a star next to it. Okay, so we're on number 4 on page 12-12. All right, the first sentence, long term. Underwrite it, highlight it, star it, circle it. Okay, because it's important. That farming does work, but it takes time. It can take money to do that. So there's ways of lowering that cost, but it still takes more money to do that than some of the other ones that you just either knocking on the door or calling on the phone. So, and also at the bottom, the last paragraph there talks about, says, like all prospecting farming is about building relationships within a community. Okay, that doesn't necessarily take money. It does, however, take skill in building connections with people, as the farming strategies that follow illustrate. So, for instance, your neighborhood, if you want to sell in your neighborhood, okay, could be a great way of starting your farm there. So there's some things that before we do that we'll get on to the next stage, that you want to make sure, okay, is this neighborhood, even though it's my community, is there turning over fast enough? Is there enough business here that's going to make sense for me to focus on it? Because if I live in a neighborhood that doesn't turn over, do I really want to spend my time, money, and efforts on something that's just people don't move out of or move into very long?
Can't turnover kind of be cyclical though? If people see 2 houses go and you market those sales right, they'll think, oh, well, it's worth it. Because I think some people are really interested, but a lot of people don't know. They have no idea what their house might be worth.
In a small neighborhood, that could be true. In a larger neighborhood, you're going to have the numbers, other numbers.
Okay.
So it is going to be, it could get to a point where the average age in certain communities are now older, people are retiring, and it starts turning over at that point. If the numbers are big enough, I'll look at it and say, okay, is this really worth my time where I want to invest? Typically, in our neighborhood, that should be the case, but definitely knowing the numbers. Just lost my thought. Oh, sorry. So what I would do, if I was going to start a farm, it was going to be in my neighborhood, I would print off all the records. Where do we find the numbers from? Names and addresses?
PRD.
PRD. Where else can we find it from? Compressors, thank you. Okay. First Centennial Title Company, soon to be our version of Bicentennial Title Company. Okay. Provides us access to compressors, okay, which is an online database that provides names, numbers, and sometimes phone numbers of the community. All right. You can search by radius. You can search by putting plots on the map. You can search by street. All right. So I would do that. I would pull up, if I'm in my neighborhood, pull up start by street. Okay, so that's when I'm walking, I got my clipboard. I can say, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Okay, introduce myself. So it's not, I have information about them. So if I'm building this farm, I'm building my database, it's about relationships. Okay, the best way of doing that is not going to go and getting face-to-face with people. So when I do get my mailers, things like that, they say, oh, it's Lloyd. That's about 3 seconds before they throw it away. But that's okay. Oh, it's Lloyd. No, it's another house. Oh, this is another house. You know, I'm not typically going to keep those, right? But we want them to see our name, real estate. All right. So, 12.
Can you just talk about that just for a second? So,
Please.
can you talk about how, so if they knock on the door, and just, can you talk about what you say? So you have information, you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Their dad.
So, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm introducing myself around the neighborhood because I'm an expert in selling activity in this immediate area. I have some free material I'd like to leave with you to show you what homes have been selling recently and at what prices. Would that interest you? Okay, so that's 12-14. Okay, it could be that. It could be, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. My name's Lloyd. I'm one of your neighbors down on Corville Drive. I'm also a realtor. So obviously I specialize in this area. I want to keep the home values in the area. Our neighborhood's important to me. So just going kind of this field, just want to stop by, introduce myself, also leave you some information on what homes are currently in the market, what's recently sold, give you a better idea of what value is. So how long have you lived at this address? So now I'm getting into a script. Okay, basically like a just listed, just sold script. So a lot of these scripts you can use interchangeably. Okay, because I want to ask questions because I want to find out more about them. I want to create that relationship. How long you lived here? Where'd you guys move from? You know, if you were to go, where would you go next? When would that be? Okay, so you can start with, have you ever thought about buying or selling, or do you know anyone in our neighborhood? We have a lot of buyers looking to move into our area. That's another one. So for instance, if it was a just listed, just sold. So I mentioned with you, I think last week, sold 2 on the same street. Postcards are going out today. It's actually just listed, just sold. This is the one that should have went out, a few weeks ago because I missed one around the block. Okay, because I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing. But postcards are going out, and then I'm going to go be knocking on the door. Just recently sold 2 houses on the next street over. There was actually 6 other buyers that wrote an offer, okay, but didn't get the home. So we have a lot of buyers looking to move into your area. So I just want to stop by real quick. Do you know anyone that's thinking about making a move? So a lot of times I'll ask them, do they know anyone? No, I can't think of anyone. Well, great, I appreciate that. What about you? Have you thought about making a move? No, we're staying here. Okay, how long have you guys lived here? Where'd you guys move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? If you were to go, where would you go next? Well, we'll probably retire in Florida. Great, Florida, that's exciting. When would that be? Oh, not till the fall. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, if I just stopped asking questions when I asked them the first time, I would have never found that out.
How often do you do that?
Not as much as I should. Okay. I need to be doing it probably a couple times a month.
And when you do it, how many houses before you're like, I can't go on in these shoes? Will you do a whole sub, or will you just like?
Sometimes. Okay. For instance, I had buyers that were looking into an area. We put an offer on one, we missed it. Okay, we looked at the other one that was there.
Yeah.
They didn't like it, so I started knocking on doors. So this is February, mid-February, cold out.
Yeah.
I bundled up. I had my soft-sided briefcase with all my information in there. If they weren't there, I put the flyer at the door there. I got a couple of leads from it. No. So, as I mentioned with the group that was here this morning, just find out yesterday that we need to cut this part. Pre-sale tickets for Jeremy Buffett's going on sale. So I have a couple people that are coming on to get those tickets. So actually go into.
He's multitasking.
Yes, we're multitasking here. Just go into there. Ticketmaster.com. There's my username and password. So I apologize about this because tickets were supposed to go on sale till Friday.
That's awesome.
So I had Friday at 10 in my schedule. I found out yesterday, pre-sale tickets.
At least you found out.
Yeah, at least I found out. So I apologize here.
While we're on the door knocking,
Yes.
did you find there's a good time?
You want to talk about Jamie Buffett?
No, I'm sorry, not a fan. But,
No parent.
while you're talking about door knocking, did you find that evening is the best time, weekends? What do you find to be the best time to catch people in a good humor?
When you do it. There's fewer people home typically during the day. However, the people I catch during the day are people that can buy and sell during the day, which is fine by me. If it's a certain area that you might, like your neighborhood, you might want to do it different times. Okay, so there's no one perfect time. Okay, it's really when you're doing it, especially calling first thing in the morning. Okay, not because you got most people home, okay, but because you have the toughest thing you need to do all day. You need to get that done first. Brian Tracy wrote this great book. I love books that are about that thick. Okay, called "Eat That Frog." Gross.
Leg at a time.
Okay, but you probably figure out what it's talking about. The worst thing you had to do all day was eat a frog. You want to worry about it all day long, or just eat it in the morning and be done with it.
Right.
Okay, so when it comes to prospecting, just remember, eat that frog. All right, let's get it out of the way. I mean, because if you're anything like me, you're going to procrastinate. You're going to worry about it. You're going to beat yourself up about it. So you're going to spend the next 10 to 12 hours all day beating yourself up about it, where if you just did it, got it over within a couple hours, you're done, you feel excited, you're energetic, you're going to your goals, it's done. I can do pretty much anything else now. So there's really no perfect time. Okay. So when I went door knocking, it was during the day. And again, there was a lot of people that weren't home. Okay. And the houses were spread out a little bit far.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But also, I called first. Okay.
So where are you getting those numbers?
Brussels.
And those are home numbers then, but nobody even has those.
Correct. That's why I went door knocking. Okay. So there was only maybe 20% of people that had numbers. Only a few percent actually answered. All right. So these buyers were wanting that area, so I told them what we would do. Okay, do you think those buyers are committed to me? Are excited about it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you think they're going to refer business to me?
Yeah.
Like our agent was going door to door trying to find me a house.
Our house, the house number.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, if you do that, you're going to find business. And the great thing about it is, typically your buyer doesn't have any competition. Yeah. Okay, if your buyer doesn't like that, you have a good opportunity of listing that property. So there's subdivisions now that we're calling and that we're door knocking because we have buyers in.
Well, and also, I think the biggest for me is that it allows you to be authentic. You actually do have a buyer.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
I was saying that for me, it's that you actually can be authentic. You actually do have a buyer.
Yes, yes.
So that's a big, big,
Correct. So many times sellers may have a little thick skin. You say, oh, I got a buyer for your house. And I never say I have a buyer. You know, I have a specific buyer that's interested in moving into your neighborhood.
right?
Okay, do you know, I show them all the houses on the market, none's a good fit. We've been looking for over a year, these are pre-approved buyers. Do you know anyone in the area? So I promised them I'd go out, go door to door, try and find them a house. I made a commitment to them. Also, I'm sure this is the person I'm talking to. What does that show that seller of the type of business that I do? Okay, it goes back to the 3 Ps of real estate. When an agent lists a home, you guys heard about the 3 Ps that all agents do?
Then place a sign.
Okay, yes, they place it in the MLS. They put up a sign, and last P that most agents do, they pray that it sells. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we actually do that 4th P. Okay, that's prospecting. Every day we're on the phones looking for buyers for our sellers and sellers for our buyers. We're not just waiting for buyers to come to you. We're not waiting for the fish to jump up on the boat. Okay, we're gonna grab a net, we're gonna go down in the water and find that client. Okay, so that's again just the spiel that I use in the listing presentation. But we're doing it. So going back to your point, yes, you do want to make it clear that you have a specific buyer that's looking for the area. Because they hear a lot, oh, I got a buyer for your home. Okay. The majority of the time, they're just looking to list the property. Okay, good point. Another question?
I have a quick question. Are there just so postcards you can put the price on, sell price on that card?
Just sold, yes. Just sold postcards, we do put the sold price. Okay. Again, on
It's BRD anyway, right?
it is public records, but we're thinking more of having them call you.
Yeah.
Okay, versus the private information of saying, well, if they know the price, they're not gonna call. Many times they're not gonna call anyways. Okay, but when I send out a postcard, I also do want to call or do want to knock on the door. So you'll probably get business if you do enough of these of calls from your cards. Okay, you're gonna get more business when you're face to face or talking to them. That's just the bottom line. All right, other questions? So let's see here. So farming strategies. Oops, sorry. No, we went ahead on that script of what he said. So Lisa, did that help? Give me a few ideas what to say?
Yeah.
And sometimes we overthink it. Just say hi, introduce yourself, and what you're trying to do. Where do we leave off?
Just on 12-14.
About 12, 14. Yeah. Oh, let's go back. We skipped over 12, 13. So how to select your farm. So here you want to go back. If you're picking a farm that you want to work in, go through these 10 questions. Okay, and this will help you determine what farm may be best suited for you. Again, is there lots of turnover? Is there enough homes in here? What's the activity level? All right, again, knowing these numbers, knowledge is power. All right, 12-14 farming strategies. And we talked about market to your target area, start with knocking on the door, introducing yourself, we talked about that. Holding open houses in your farm area. So let's say you wanted to work in your neighborhood, okay? You've done this plenty of times, and you don't have a listing, okay? Talk to the agent that has a listing there. So if I knew I was going to a home listed in my neighborhood, and it was another Keller Williams office, not even just ours, I would call, ask that agent, hey, are you doing an open house? You know, you interested in having someone hold it open? What are you guys laughing about?
Because I've tried this.
We shut it down. I mean, we
Shut down.
shut it down. I mean, I did it last year, but now
Got shut
nobody's,
down.
I'm saying now
Oh, yeah.
nobody's letting.
Okay, I wouldn't say nobody.
But no,
Nobody.
it's a great idea, and I've tried it, but I think you should still try it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because there would be some.
Let's just say
Because
they were easier to get last year.
Yeah.
But you know the neighborhood, and
Sure.
that's the approach you take. I know the neighborhood, if you take a Sunday off, I'll be
Sure.
happy to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, because if they want to, also there's a certain percentage of agents that come from an abundant mentality. Okay, and there's a unfortunate small percentage that, no, you're taking away from me. Okay, and Keller Williams, that's one of the things that we really try and why we attract the agents is come from an abundance mentality. There's plenty of here that are teaching these things of what they're doing because great, go do it. Okay, I don't see you taking away to my business. I see that you're adding to my business. Okay, because if we sell more homes, we have more signs out there. What's the public going to think about Keller Williams?
That's great.
Yeah. So again, and there could be some that I do have some sellers that say no, I'm not interested in open houses. That's fine too. So there could be a mixture of reasons, but I do have listings, especially with our Fannie Mae account, you can hold open 10 days a week, and some are pretty decent. So, but you know, it's worth asking. Let's see here. Circle prospecting. So what are we talking about circle prospecting? I'm sorry.
I don't want to order.
Yes, thank you. Circle prospecting. So what are we talking about in circle prospecting?
We know that when a home sells, usually within a week or two, someone else might be interested in taking advantage the same way that those sellers have.
Yeah, so that's our script. Okay. So we talk about circle prospecting, calling around, just listening, just
And it doesn't have to be your listing or even your office's listing.
Correct. Doesn't have to be your listing, doesn't have to be your office listing. It helps when it is, but it doesn't have to be. But it's not your listing, don't say that it is. And it's really easy. Say we had a property that was just listed down the street. Okay, or there was a property that just listed down the street and sold.
Your neighbor's house just sold, did you know that?
Lots of different ways, so don't overthink it.
You're on the buy side, same thing.
If you're on the buy side, same thing. So you don't want to say, you can say, I participated in the sale.
I brought the buyer.
I brought the
I
buyer.
found the buyer.
Yeah.
Brought a new neighbor you're not gonna like and you better sell it.
What
Right.
not to say.
101.
Yeah, so, but there's lots of different ways. Don't overanalyze it and just make the call. All right, just listens are pretty good. Just so to have a little more weight. Okay, why?
Because you succeeded.
One, you succeeded, or there's actually information we know what it's sold for. So that does affect the value of their home. It does. So those are a little bit easier calls to make.
Doing just pendings might be a way to gather because they'll want to know, they always want to know, well, what did it sell for? I'm happy to tell you as soon as it closes, can I have your email and then I'll just shoot it to you.
Right, yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Just say, the sellers don't allow us to release that information because you never know if a deal's going to go south. However, I'd be happy to, so different ways you can say that you feel comfortable with, but absolutely. Okay. And if I did a just listed call to that neighborhood I was telling you about, probably a better chance I would have gotten that listing that went up for sale. That $350,000. Okay. It gets painful, folks, when you know what you're supposed to be doing and you don't do it. And now you can't plead ignorance, you know. All right, let's see here. 4, know your market statistics. Again, knowledge is power, knowing what's going on. And when you're talking to the neighbors, when someone asks you, hey, how's real estate going? You're giving them information. When the market was bad, we'd always say, unbelievable. How's real estate market? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievably horrible. We wouldn't say that part about it. It's unbelievable. Let's see here. Get involved. We talked about all different types of ways of getting involved. Okay, into the neighborhood. Be an advocate. Join Neighborhood Watch. Write for the newsletter. Help plan block parties. Again, come from contribution. That goes so far. Number 6, if you're good at blogging, blog about your farm, especially that community. What's going on? We don't have it anymore. But I was part of the homeowner associations, and we would create these newsletters. So I would tell them, I'll print it, I'll deliver it. Okay, I just want the back page. Sure, great. Okay, so half that back page, I had upcoming events in the neighborhood, in the community. The last half of the page was
Plug for you.
all mine. We good? Yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, sorry about that interruption there, folks. Let's see here. Questions so far? All right. Number 5, for sale by owners. And last week we said FSBO stands for?
First,
Oh, you were a good listener.
I stopped myself from reading.
first source of business.
Nobody remember that? I have all this knowledge that I'm giving you and
Fastest.
Fastest.
Thank you, thank you. You're the star. Fastest source of business opportunity.
Yes.
Fastest source of business opportunity. Okay, that's what that FSBOs stand for. The National Association of Realtors estimates that about 10% of all homes that sell are sold by owner. Wow, 10%. To me, that kind of sounds like a big number.
It does.
Let's dissect that.
I'm going to try them.
So let's look at the bottom pie graph. Oops, sorry, no, not that one. The top one, why sellers choose for sale by owners. 38% want to save the commission.
Yeah.
Makes sense. 32% sold to relative, friend, or neighbor. Wait a minute, is that really technically it's a for sale by owner, right? They sold it without the need of an agent, but they sold it to somebody they knew. To me, that's 32%. 12% buyers contact the sellers directly. So I look at that, out of that
They didn't sell it, yeah.
yeah, out of that 10%, okay, this is a rough number from 2010, probably a little bit higher in today's market. Okay, but out of that 10%, we had 44% really sold to somebody that they knew or contacted them. Okay, that's a pretty big chunk. So that's 66% that out of that 10%, so about 6.6%, I guess, was really a true for sale by owner. That makes sense. Okay, 2010, we're still getting out of a struggling market depending on where you're at. Some areas, some states were still in the thick of it. Yeah, it's going to happen. In our market, there's some people, for sale by owners, that will sell their home by owner. Good for them. Out of those, there's some people that probably got more, okay, netted more, okay, because they didn't use an agent. It's probably a small percentage. There's probably another small percentage that probably sold it for less than they could have gotten it for. Okay, netted less. And so, we want to take the approach with the for sale by owners when we're talking to them, not that they can't do it. Okay, we want to be on their side. But statistically, we know we can typically net them more money. Okay, and if you notice my words, I don't say I can net them more money, but I can typically net them more money. Okay, because you never know. Some people get lucky and they get a great price for it. Okay, but that's not the majority of the time. All right, how do we net for sale by owners more money? Okay, and this, we probably won't have enough time to really dig deep into this because there's lots of misconceptions. A lot of times from agents, they say, wait a minute, if they have to give us 6%, okay, I love give, if they have to pay us 6%, how are they going to possibly net more money?
What's the value of the MLS?
What's the value of the MLS? Okay.
Bigger pool of buyers.
Yeah, just crunched up face. Talk to me.
No, for me, it's just that the marketing reach is so much wider and so much more targeted to qualified buyers that you're more likely to be able to create a competitive situation, which would set the price at ask and then accelerate it above that. And when they list on their own, they don't have that leverage, and so most likely it's going to drop the price down below their ask. So that could be the 6% spread right there.
Supply and demand is really what it comes down to.
Well, and odds are they're going to be working not against, but technically against an agent on the sale. And if they're a savvy person,
Right.
and they might not be as scrupulous as everyone, they could potentially really screw the seller over if they don't know what they're doing.
Right. So a lot of times that for sale by owners, most of them will be happy to pay you a commission if you procure the buyer. So now, and I love when they say, yeah, we'll pay you 3%. Okay. What is you going to do?
I don't.
You don't do it?
I just walked away.
Okay, well, that's fine. So,
You're gonna do the whole thing. You're gonna do the whole thing.
will you let me finish? Wait, there's more.
Yes.
It's like the
Mid-sentence.
Yeah, there's like the infomercials. Wait, there's more. So when I hear that, all right, I get excited about it because now my job of showing my value is so much easier because they've already agreed to pay me, let's say 3%, to negotiate against them. Okay, it's a lot easier to show the value of 3% than 6%. So that's my point. So I'm not saying do it. Ask the question because it'll make your life a lot easier going about it. So many times people get caught, many times agents, and let's talk about this if you're struggling with it. They say, well, how in the world though? Yeah, I understand supply and demand, but how in the world if they have to pay me 6%, how do they still net more money? Because the price is the price. So we have the easiest way I can to explain it is anyone buy or sell a used car? Okay, so let's say you're out, you're looking for a used car. You know, how would you go about the process? You driving up and down the streets looking for cars, what would you do?
Start to learn what values are.
Start to learn what values are, so where would you go?
Yeah.
Online?
Kelly Blue Book.
KellyBlueBook.com,
Edmunds.
Autotrader.com, Edmunds.com. Okay, so let's say KellyBlueBook.com, Edmunds.com, you go in and say, all right, I want to buy a 2012 Cadillac Escalade, whatever it is. All right, you're going to get 3 prices, right?
Good, better, best.
All right, what 3 values are they showing you?
Best, good.
No, they're showing you trade-in.
Because that's part of it.
Right.
But when it comes down to 3 prices, you've already put that into it. So they're going to show you wholesale. So what's wholesale?
Like to
If you were selling it back to the dealership. Okay, that's wholesale. Okay, they're not going to give you retail. Why?
they need to make money.
Okay, because they need to turn around, maybe put some money into it, sell it. They're making money off of it. Okay, second price is?
Trade-in.
No, that's wholesale. Wholesale's trade-in. Okay. Second price is private party sale. FSBO. Okay, here's the price you would expect, or the range of prices you expect if you were going to buy it from a private party individual. And then the third price, which is the highest price, is
Right off the lot.
retail. You're buying it off the lot. You're going into dealership. Same car, same features, same mileage, 3 different prices. Okay? So that's going back to why is that? So when someone comes in to buy a car off a dealer, they pretty much, they're looking for a good deal, but they're also expecting to pay retail. Right? They have some security. There could be a warranty involved. There's just security that they're buying from a company that does this over and over again. It's got clear title.
Not gonna french fries in the seats.
Yeah, you're not going to find the French fries in the seats. Absolutely. So they're willing to pay a little bit more than that. All right? For sale by owners is very similar. But what for sale by owners want to do is they don't necessarily think of it in that way. They want to take their home, and sometimes an agents will even do market analysis for them, saying, okay, here's what other similar price homes are selling for. That's flawed, though. Okay? That is a flawed way of looking at it, because that's what other similar homes sold for at the dealer. Okay? Being represented by professional real estate agents. That's not the price of homes that are for sale by owners. Does that make sense? Okay? So when buyers, and most buyers would want to work with an agent, because they've been through the process, they know what they're doing, they do it day in, day out, they provide them all the information, it's just easier. Okay? Why would a buyer want to buy for sale by owner? They're getting it cheaper. Okay, so there's
Bargain hunters.
bargain hunters.
Except that most for sale by owners overprice their properties.
Yeah. Because they're not familiar with pricing, and there's not an agent that's guiding them. Absolutely. But it goes back to, okay, wait a minute, you want to save the commission. Now you're attracting buyers that also want to save the commission. Are you really saving it? Okay, because sometimes sellers will look at, okay, what's retail pricing? All right, I'm going to, take off 6%. Okay, well, now, what'd you save? You're doing all the work yourself. So we don't have time to dig into it deeper, but I at least want to pique the interest of, why we provide a value to for sale by owners. Why a majority of for sale by owners, if they're talk to good agents, of why most of them will list with an agent, they can't sell it on their own. Make sense? All right, so let's look at why, we were talking about that one. But the big game is save the commission. And when I'm going through my script on for sale by owners, you know, I ask them, so why did you decide to sell this home yourself? And they say, save the commission. And I want to repeat and improve. When I'm going through the scripts, any of your, whatever script you have, basically repeat and improve, repeat and improve. Why are you doing that?
To show that you heard them.
First, to show you that you heard them. I mean, people want to feel heard. And sometimes salespeople aren't the best listeners. Okay? They like to talk a lot. So we repeat, show them that we heard them. And sometimes make sure I heard them correctly. Sometimes I'll hear them, but not hear them what they really meant. And they'll say, well, no, blah, blah, blah. Right? Why are we approving?
Makes them like you.
Makes them like you. Okay, why else? You're on their side. Absolutely. People, especially for sale by owners, they have so many agents calling them up, telling them that they're crazy, they can't do it, they can't sell a home on their own. Yeah, it's like, well, call me and make me wrong. All right? You can be wrong or you can be rich. Because so many times in my personality style, it took me quite a few years to realize that, and I'm still working on it. You know, I tend to being right, especially because I'm more analytical, more of that C, personality style. Being right is important. Sometimes it's analysis to paralysis. I know you don't have an issue with that at all. So that's what's great about the personality styles. But I realized that sometimes me having to be right is shutting other people off. And that wasn't really my intent. I mean, I wasn't doing that to make the other person feel wrong, but me being me, again, personality styles, I'm annoying half the population out there by me just being who I am. Okay? And giving approval doesn't mean I think you're right. Oh, I'm not listening to agents, they're all crooks. Agents are all crooks. I can definitely appreciate that. Okay, I'm giving them approval, but I'm not saying, yeah, you're right, they all are crooks. Why am I even calling you? Okay, so there's a big difference between the two. So I'm always going to give approval, but my approval doesn't mean I'm saying, yeah, you're right, you'd be crazy to listen to an agent. Make sense? All right, let's see here. So I go back to when they say save the commission, which is 38% of the time, the largest part. Oh, you want to save the commission? Good for you. Good for me. Yeah, good for you. You know, if I had to sell my home and I thought I could save the commission by selling it myself, I'd probably try that too.
Yeah, but you know what you're doing.
I know.
Like,
But I'm one that is so true and authentic of what I just said, and it's easy for me to say because when I was 17, I bought my first house.
yeah.
I did try to sell it myself, and it didn't work. And there was the realization that I thought I can put the sign up, I can hold it open, piece of cake, save $6 or say 6%. I can do that. There's a reason why realtors have been in business for over 100 years. We provide a value. Okay, and I learned that. I learned that people coming through are trying to lowball you. I learned that I was attracting, buyers that just wanted deals or couldn't get approved or were trying to steal it from me. I learned that.
Pete Costa has the best one. He just says, you won't let anybody, if someone knocks on your door right now, would you, if someone just knocked on your door and said, can I come and see your house? And your house isn't up for sale. So would you let him in? We're like, no, absolutely not. But you put a sign in the yard, and now you do.
Right.
And he says that's all he uses.
Yeah.
That's all he has to say.
And that may work for him.
I mean, that now it's true, like, you're right. I'm suddenly letting strangers.
Sure. If that works for him, great. And he gets business from that, great. That's one script that doesn't work well with me because I feel like it's more of a scare tactic.
Fear.
Is there some truth in that? Yeah. So it's still, is that his script and it gets him business? It does, and he's comfortable with that. Probably works great for him. With me, because it's not really authentic to me, I would have a hard time and it would probably show. So that's the importance of having a script that works for you, okay, that you feel one, comfortable in it, two, that it works.
I haven't used it with actual FSBOs. Where I've used it is when frequently the subject is coming up. Millennials really, really think that they can sell their own homes. And so not necessarily when I'm up against them, because they know everything's on the internet and they monetize everything. You know, Uber, selling stuff on Facebook. I mean, to them, they think that they can get the information on the internet and that we just provide
Correct.
key service. So it's more that I use it when the discussion comes
Sure.
up,
Yeah. That'd be fine.
but not so much in the actual call.
Right. All right, and with for sale by owners, again, we're asking lots to find why they're selling themselves, because a lot of times, and again, it's the safety commission. Well, let me ask you, if I could do all the work, all the hassles, all the paperwork, and you actually were able to put more money in your pocket with me doing all the work than you doing it, would you be interested in spending 5-10 minutes talking about it? That sounds like a fair trade, doesn't it? Because if you don't like what I have to say and you don't believe me, all right, you've wasted 5-10 minutes. But if I could show you that I might be able to put, again, might be able to put more money in your pocket with me doing all the work, I mean, it would be worth just, 10-15 minutes of your time, wouldn't it? Great, well, what's a good time for us to get together? All right, so in the script here that we'll see, it kind of wants you to get into the door, which is a great way of doing it. Bowl teaches us, okay, that we're looking for the now business. We're looking for someone that can do business, or someone we're looking for the listing. Okay, so I'm first going to try and get the listing appointment. All right, let's say they just listed it by owner. It's maybe been a week, 2 weeks, and they still feel like they can do it. Right? Odds are they're not going to want to sit down and go through the listing appointment with me. All right, so if I can't get the listing appointment, I've tried a couple different ways. Okay, again, just by asking questions. Okay, then I will set an appointment to do a preview. Well, great. I understand you're looking to sell yourself. I certainly get that, and I hope you do sell yourself. So I would like to have more information on the home. What would be a good time? Stop by, take a look at it, preview it. So if something came up, at least I could talk about your property with more understanding and knowledge. What's a good time for us to get together? So I'm still going to try to do the preview. But please, if the appointment's there, try and go for the appointment first. Because it's a lot easier to go for the preview, because odds are, for sale by owners want you to come take a look at their house because they think you might have a buyer. And I really minimize the part that I may have a buyer, unless I do. Okay, the reason I minimize that is because if I go preview it and their expectations is I might have a buyer, and that home doesn't really fit the needs of my buyer, are they going to be disappointed? That agent said he had a buyer, came by, and no buyer. So you have to be careful with that. And sometimes I use that against other agents. Oh, you probably have agents saying that they may have a buyer. Let's be honest, if I had a buyer, if they had to be a buyer, they'd be knocking on your front door with the buyer, wouldn't they? So, but ask questions. Okay, it's a process. Try and get the listing point if you can. If you can't, then go preview it. All right, because it's a lot easier to build that relationship or to build a rapport when you're face to face. 12-17. So here are some objections with objection handlers. We think we have the time to get our home sold. Okay, and this is the interesting thing too, is because sellers don't get how it works. Especially if you have people that are relocating. Okay, and relocation buyers are the best buyers out there. Because they're coming in this weekend and they need to buy a house. You think those relocation buyers are going to have time to research and look for your home? No. Okay. We've had even buyers that bought homes without ever being in the house. Ken Posick actually had a closing, I think, this week. He shared with me. He got this call. I think they're out of state, being relocated, and said, "Here's what we're looking for."
I did one last year.
Yeah. So look at these. Let us know which are the best ones. We called them up and said why. At first, it's like, "Oh yeah, right. They're cash buyers. They want to buy." I don't know. They sold. So they had, I think, some family or friends that looked at it before they put the offer in.
We didn't have that. It's military, from military people. And I just sent them an iPhone video of the house.
So do you think those are going to be looking at for sale by owners? No. So again, it's educating them about those things. Objection 2, we can make more on the sale by not paying an agent commission. Again, it's what you net. So what's more important to you? How much you sell a home for, or how much you put in your pocket at the end of the day. What you put in your pocket at the end of the day. So if there's a way I can put more money in your pocket than you can yourself, would it be worth 10, 15 minutes of your time to talk about it? All right. So additional scripts about getting their information. Next page, 12-18. Get an appointment to see their home. So this is, if you can't get the listing presentation, at least get an appointment to see the home. Again, this is how it's worded, is this is your call to them, or just kind of preview it. If you're going to call them, go for the appointment. Okay, if you can't get the listing appointment, then go for the preview. Make sense? You guys good with that? Are you sure? We need to talk about it more?
One other thing that I've heard, just like it may be an easy way to
Sure.
get in and see the for sale by owner, ask them if they're doing an open house. And then see if you can just stop by during the time it's already going to be, and then it's really low pressure and you're just previewing.
It is really low pressure, and that's one of the easiest ways of getting in front of them. However, I try and avoid that. And the reason I try and avoid that is you might not stand up, but also if they have buyers coming through, they're not going to give me the time of day. And I really want
Their attention.
I want their attention. So maybe, well, how about if I stop by, you do a whole open house from 1 to 4, whatever. How if I stop by at 4 o'clock? Because I had some showings earlier, I got some appointments earlier that day. But I can come right at 4, only take 10, 15 minutes without work for you. Okay, so I try and carve out a little bit of time where it's just, where I have their attention. So, if you can't get that, yeah, stop by preview. You're right, it is the easiest. But again, if they have buyers coming through, they're more interested in those buyers than they are talking to you. But it does get you.
Which is fine with me. Like, I also, on my own, selfishly, I want to be able to see the house, see the property condition, compare what they're asking, figure out what I think about it.
Right.
Because they may not qualify for a listing that I want to take.
Right.
And if they're especially cantankerous,
Right.
you might not want to deal with that.
You're absolutely right. Like, that process takes longer.
I have that issue. But if there's enough in the pipeline, things pop.
Sure. So it takes longer in that approach. It's an easier approach. I don't disagree with you. But if you're looking to be efficient and effective as possible, the quickest way to that listing is the straight arrow between A and B.
Right.
Where you're doing the research, you're doing all the stuff, but they might not want to talk to you. So I'd rather try and get the appointment, then do the information, than the other way around. And sometimes we learn these things the hard way, where I've had that approach, and then another agent takes the direct approach and lists it while I'm doing my research.
Yeah,
That's happened to me.
that's a good point.
So, however, if that's what you're doing, that's better than not contacting him at all. And you will get business from it. You get more business the other way, but you will get business from it. Actually, so point 3, go slowly at first. Your goal is to see their home, take a light-handed approach until you have a chance to tour their property inside and out. So let's say I can't get the listing appointment, okay, but I can get the preview. Again, and these aren't direct. It's just a conversation that I'm having with the seller, but I'm closing. They're soft closes, but I'm still closing. And let's say I can't get the listing appointment, but I get the preview. Once I have the preview, it's great. A lot of times, a lot of information sellers are looking for when I work with for sale by owners, or when I meet with for sale by owners, is a list of their competition, all the homes that you're competing against. So that way, you know their condition, you know the price, how long it's been on the market. Would that be of value to you? They always say, yeah, sure, bring it by.
Oh, I can get all that on the Zillow.
Okay, great. Would you like accurate information or estimates? So, so there's objection hammers to that. Then, a lot of times also my clients like those properties that have recently went pending. So we don't know what they sold for, but we know how long they were on the market. We know the condition. We know the price, the last price it was listed at. Would you like me to bring that? Great. Last thing too is sold information. This is what your neighbors have sold for. So this is the most important value that appraisers give to properties on the sold price. Would you like me to bring that? What am I doing?
Showing
Adding
that.
value.
I'm adding value,
Build a report too.
building rapport, but I'm also, aren't those things that I do when I do a market analysis?
Right. Can't you just email that to me?
I haven't seen your house. Okay, so I really need to take a look at your house. So again, objection handlers for it.
There's pictures online, it's visible.
It's a little bit different than from being in a house. You can't see everything on pictures. So then I go back to, depending on where I'm at, on what closes I've already used, okay, just go back to the motivation. So I know it takes 10, 15 minutes. Most for sale by owners are not opposed to you coming back. They might not want to work with you, but they're not opposed for you seeing the home. All right.
Lloyd, I have a question.
Please.
There's a for sale by owner in my neighborhood, and I've visited them and provided the seller's disclosures for them and periodically checked in. Oh, we're pending. Well then,
The offer's
and
pending?
the offer's pending. They have a buyer.
Good for you.
So then that one fell through. So nothing, so then their sign went back up. So I contacted them, oh, they're pending again. And then months go by and I, try to reach out to them. Is your deal, when is it scheduled to close? I have a lot of neighbor friends that are just curious and want to know,
How much?
what, not even the price, just when it's gonna close. Dead silence. I just wonder if it fell through again, their second one, because obviously these people aren't good at closing. So, would you just show up and ask them? I mean, I feel like I'm being a little rude.
I'll ask them.
No, but it's, yeah, just send her out. She'll ask. What's your intent? What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to collect the knowledge of my neighborhood sales
Okay.
to know what's available and what is not.
Okay, which is good.
You want to
Doesn't
list
have-
it?
It doesn't.
I would ultimately like to list it if
So
they
you
fail
would,
twice.
you would ultimately like to help them get their property sold?
Yes.
And assist them in making their next move?
Right,
That's your intent?
right,
Okay, I would focus on that, because they could
Okay.
care less about the neighbors.
right.
And about the neighbors having information and.
And they're embarrassed that their stuff's falling apart.
Okay.
Exactly.
What they do need, or what they do want, is to get to whatever they're doing.
Right,
All right, so you're not being, if that's your intent, so that's your ultimate focus, you're looking to help them.
right.
And that's
okay.
what we're doing with for sale by owners. We give by giving. So we're not trying to get a sale just for a sale. But we know, odds are, we can help them. We can help them get more money. We can make this process easier. Okay, we can assist them in making the next move. So I don't look at it as being pushy. I look at it as trying to help someone, even they know if I don't they don't know what they don't know. Yes. That's the reality of it.
Right,
And there's lots of things that I don't know until I start doing it. I thought, I don't need a general contractor. When I built my house, my last house, I can do it myself. That was pretty easy.
Full-time job.
It's a full-time job. So it
Yes.
cost me time, it cost me money, because now, since we had loans on these, okay, it took us longer to build. Okay, net bottom line, I think we did pretty good, just because I had a lot of experience on rehab properties. But still, doing it again, I would hire a general contractor. So anyways, but if you were to tell me, okay, that, it would cost me the same amount or more, I wouldn't believe you, because I don't know what I don't know. If I had a good contractor that was asking me questions
right.
and bringing these things up, now the light bulb goes on. Oh, I didn't think about that. That's one of the lines you love hearing. I didn't think about that. So in the process of working for sale by owners, every couple weeks, I would, when it's pending, say, hey, just want to touch base, see where you guys are in the process. Have you had the appraisal yet? Okay, so that's, I explained to them, I kind of forewarned them that many of the issues that we face lately are homes not appraising. So what is your plan?
For when it does.
First, what's your plan of trying to get it to appraise at the sales price? Because with us, we know, okay, these are our challenges. We've created strategies, you know, to try and get these appraisals in at value. And sometimes that doesn't happen, then we have strategies to figure out, okay, how do we keep it together? So has the appraisal been ordered? Has it been conducted yet? Anything that you did to make sure? So just ask lots of questions and make sure that they're, I'm informing them, so I'm providing value. I'm also letting them know it's not as easy, it's not a done deal until it's a done deal. So, and also, lastly, I'm here to help you. You know, if you have any questions on it. Because that deal quote could come through, and yeah, it could have cost me some time, because let's say I do help them a little bit, and it goes through, okay, it cost me some time. Would I put them on my Mets? Yeah. So I'm okay with assisting them, even if it, you know, would I do the whole process for free? No. But in this case, where, you know, they've already had a pending deal, I would help them a little bit. Because there could be a chance that it falls back up. And are they going to go with someone that's been sending postcards or someone that's been showing up in the world, providing value?
Right.
Yeah. So even when they say it's pending, there's questions that you should still ask. Make sense?
You give them
Great question.
Sellers disclosures and let base paint disclosures.
Yeah, up front, absolutely. It's like, great.
Okay, so I am a for sale by owner in my neighborhood, and we talked about this yesterday, so they have this little teeny sign in their
Right.
yard, like barely.
Micro sign.
And one of my neighbors told me about it and said, hey, you should go over and talk to them. So
Great neighbor.
I was like scared to death. I went up yesterday, knocked on the door, and nobody answered. I could see the TV on, so I saw the phone number on the sign, so I called when I got home. And she said, oh yeah, we're gonna be putting it on the market in a couple weeks, but we just wanted our neighbors to know that it was for sale.
Okay.
And I said, great, so you're listing it, are you listing it with an agent? And she said, oh yeah, with Karen, somebody from Century 21. And I said, oh, that's great. And I said, well, I'm an agent in the neighborhood also, I'd like to keep in touch with her, because I possibly could have a buyer, and so I'd like to know when it goes on the market, so I can potentially let my buyers know. And she's like, okay, great, well, we're not ready yet, but it's gonna be a couple weeks, blah, blah, blah. So then I hung up, and I thought, crap, I probably could have acted. And then I thought, I'm on the board, I have a meeting next week, I could probably ask her if I should put something on the website, and I could probably dig in more. Call her back. And I said, hey, I just was thinking about, if I could help
Good for you.
let.
She's not signed. She's not signed.
No.
No, but she's not signed with the other agent.
I don't know.
Ask, are you signed with the other agent?
Well, I said, I was thinking about it.
Let her
finish.
I wanted to find out if I could help you, let the neighbors know that you said that you wanted the neighbors to know about your listing, so do you want me to put it on the website? She's like, oh no, we don't want. Oh, I'm like,
What's the little
this is
sign about?
just weird. And I said, well, I'm gonna, agents work together, so I'd like to be able to reach out to Karen at Century 21. She's like, okay, great, well, I will let her know, I have your name down here. So, I don't know if I don't understand what would you have done? Because I don't think I should.
She's for sale by owner,
Okay.
blowing up names.
So why don't you think you did it right? Besides not getting an appointment, why do you feel you didn't approach
I
it
don't think
right?
I asked the right questions. I don't convert.
You do convert. You
She
do.
was so
You just didn't
nervous.
convert that time.
So hold on. So one,
You learn.
kudos for you for not
Calling.
or calling back.
You did. You gotta fail a lot to get better.
Yes, absolutely. So one, stop beating yourself up.
You're closer.
Okay, the fact that you knocked on, or the fact that you called them again is great. Okay, now we
Called
need,
twice.
yeah, now we just need to work on the dialogue a little bit more. Okay, asking better questions. Okay, so one of the important questions there is, your heart is there 100%. The scripts is the issue, because you certainly want to help them. Yet you're more helpful if you're listing the property and you're in control.
Right.
Okay. So the first question, great, you plan on listing with so-and-so. Have you already signed a contract? Because if they said yes, then I'm sure Karen will do a great job for you. If I come up with any buyers, I'm sure to bring them on. Okay. So then we get the call. If we signed, get off the phone quickly. Okay. Because even just being on the phone talking to them can be misconstrued by other agents. And sometimes what happens and what they tell other agents, their listing agent, could be two different things too. So that's why we say we cut it really short. But if that's not the case, and it's probably not, then we can dig a little bit deeper. So I would pretty much go into the for sale by owner script. Okay, so it's really not about there, it's just asking them, again, it's finding out more information, find out what's important to them. The last question is, are you familiar with the techniques that we use to get homes sold? That's the big one, where, we're the #1 real estate company in the area. Last year we sold how many homes? 490.
Well, over here,
This year. It was a similar goal last year, actually. So, we're on track to sell 1,400 homes. I break that down to a week. We typically sell 3 homes every single day. And I'd love to show you. It only takes 15, 20 minutes to show you what we do to get these results. And if you don't like it, you can listen to Karen. But if there was a better way, get your property sold, get you more money, you'd be interested in hearing about it. Okay, but the first part is still the script, just the regular script. Where are you moving to? How long you been here? So it's having that conversation versus, because sometimes agents want to jump into the jugular of how they're better than the other agent. They don't believe you. Okay, but if you start asking questions, that's what we want the light bulb to go on. It's okay, well maybe. Also, if you're repeating, improving, you're building rapport. If you're paying attention to the personality style, you're building rapport. They're going to feel comfortable with you. So all that, there's so many things to keep in mind. It can get, especially as a new agent, get overwhelming. Because how do you learn the scripts, listen to how they're talking, mirror and match, repeat and improve, figure out the disc all at the same time? It's impossible. It's like how do you eat an elephant?
Frog.
Just one bite at a time. So first, learning the scripts. That's the big part. That's when you start learning the scripts. Because once you learn the scripts, then you're not reading off of them. Okay, now you're paying attention to them. Because if you're reading off of them, that's better than not calling them at all. But if you're reading off of them, one, you probably sound like you're reading off of them. Okay, two, you're looking at the next question when they're answering your question. So you're not paying attention to them. So first step of all that is learning the scripts. Once you learn the scripts, then you're paying attention to mirror, matching, repeat, improve. You're paying attention to the personality styles, things like that. So you're most of the way there. You just need to learn the scripts now. It's funny. I actually had 2 agents in my office. This was at Coldwell Banker. This is the worst period in real estate history.
What year?
2005, 2010. But again, we sold more homes every year. There were a lot less value, but we're still selling homes. And we would go after expireds and FSBOs. And I had one agent back into another agent. They were, I don't know how they happened to be on the same street, but I had Larry back into a gal because he passed the for sale by owner. He stopped, backed up, backed into her. So luckily it was just a tap, but it's just funny how that happened. Yeah. So when you see for sale by owners, are you stopping? They're getting the number. So good. Are you calling? All right. Are you going home different ways? Do you have people on the lookout in your world for sale by owners? Okay, so there's all different ways we can be looking at these. We're finding these. All right. Good questions. Any other questions? All right. Let's finish up here. 12-19. We're continuing with for sale by owners. Win their trust. Again, if you're building rapport, if you're coming from contribution, if you're providing value, you're going to win their trust. Focusing on saving money. Again, that's what they're trying to do. And if you can actually, focus on netting, that's the bottom line. That's really what they're interested in doing. Most people don't care what it costs, just as long as they put more money in your pocket. And also focus on saving time. So that's why it's important while we're asking those questions is why is this move important? How can I help them with that? How can I make sure we get down to Florida in that time frame? Let's see here. Here's those scripts. We passed those out last week. All right, expired listings. Bless you. So also very similar is canceled listings. Okay, withdrawn listings. So canceled. So in our MLS we have 2 types of withdrawals.
Unconditional and conditional.
What's the difference between unconditional and conditional? What's the difference?
conditional, the listing's down, but they're still under contract. I don't know, it's just.
Reverse. Yeah, so conditional withdrawal is the contract's still valid, the listing contract is still valid, we're just taking it off of the MLS. We're not marketing anymore, but we still have a contract on it, okay? So when it's a conditional withdrawal, do you call them or do you not?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Don't call them, don't call them, okay? You're breaking the code of ethics when you call them, okay? Because they have a listing contract already, a valid listing contract there.
Call and find out what's conditional.
No, it's a code of ethics violation. So it's unconditional, obviously means that it's ripped up the contract. Okay, that's fair game.
I got a question. If it's conditionally withdrawn,
Right.
is it on like the MLS or whatever, how long that it's going to be under that conditionally withdrawn situation, or do they change it when it becomes unconditional?
So here's a really, really good question, guys. Because this will happen. If you're working expires, you'll call people and they're like, you know, we took that house off the market 3 months ago.
Right. That all the
Okay,
time.
because they took it out 3 months ago as a unconditional, or it could be a conditional withdrawal, but now the contract finally expired. So that would happen with conditional. So
Right.
if they took their property off the market and told the agent, we're not moving anymore, we were supposed to new job, wanted to stay close to family, agent takes it down, it's a conditional withdrawal. 4 months down the line, they get agents calling like crazy, saying, I saw your house just came off the market, you know, do you want to sell? All right, so what happened is that contract that was still valid expired, so now it came up as an expired listing.
So it automatically
So is it good or not
changes.
good?
So then it's
Call them
good.
in?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it changes on its own.
Yes, in the system.
it's got an
Yeah, in the MLS system, we have a list date and expiration date. Okay, so when it expires at midnight, then the next, 12:01 comes up as
Expired.
expired.
That day.
Also, many agents will list homes not just X amount of months, but they'll list it to the month end. So we find that the first of every month, we have a larger percentage of expires than we do the middle of the month.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so we would have, for instance, ultimate lead generation days when I was in other offices. So the first of every month, the first business day of every month, we would have plan on prospecting all day. We would bring in pizza, we would make it fun, just because we knew, especially when the market was softer or difficult, we just knew we'd have a lot more people on that day. So, but yeah, it's the contract and the reason, I mean, you can do what you want to do. The official answer for Keller Williams Northville is not to call conditional, just make sure I'm covered here in the video. Okay, don't call conditional listings.
Unless they're expired.
Then it's no longer conditional withdrawal. So once it's expired, it's fair.
Expired. Right.
And also, many times it's conditional, not all, but many times it's conditional. There's something that came up that stopped them from wanting to sell. Because if they really wanted to sell, they would typically force that agent to give them an unconditional withdrawal.
Right.
Most of the time. All right. Let's see here. So common reasons why homes don't sell: price, marketing, and condition. So what do we say about price at the beginning of this morning?
Cures all.
Price cures all. Okay, so, however, if we're calling expireds and we tell them, we're on the phone with them and say why the home didn't sell, they need to reduce their price, are they really gonna wanna meet with us? Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so that's not a discussion we have until we see the property. All right, next is expired listing strategies and scripts for success. Number one, confirm expiration. Sometimes they could have relisted. All right, so we always want to say, is your home still on the market? Oh, yes, it is. Great. Repeat and approve. My next question is, did you relist? Because if you say, is it on the market, they may think, well, it's still on. Sometimes properties expire and their listing agent doesn't even know.
Right.
Uh-huh.
All the time.
Or they don't want to relist.
Or they don't want to relist it. I talk about that, you know, because sometimes, so when they go back to, when that happens,
Oh, you want to fire this sucker?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just too painful.
Sometimes other agents also will automatically renew a listing without those clients knowing.
Right.
There's many large teams that do that.
Right, and we
And I
can't.
run through that when I call those.
Sure,
all the time.
and if it's showing active, again, it's against the code of ethics for us to be calling that. But you want to, an objection handler method is listed with the same agent. You know, to me, that's the easiest one to overcome. See, I can certainly appreciate that you want to relist with that same agent. I mean, I'm sure, you know, that agent worked hard for you. Do you think that agent did everything they could to get your home sold? You're going to say, well, yeah, so of course. I mean, that's what you'd expect. But let me ask you this, though. If they did everything that they knew how to do, and your home didn't sell, how are they going to sell this time? What are they going to do differently? I mean, it's kind of like the definition of insanity, isn't it? So depending on the personality style, you have to be careful with that.
Yeah, you don't want to call the other agent insane.
No, and that's not what I'm doing, but, you know, they always say the definition of insanity is doing the
Same
same
thing
thing over and over again, yet expecting different results. And you want different results, don't you? If that agent did everything they could to get it sold, how are we going to get different results? Sounds like you need a different approach. You know, let me show you how we sell 3 homes every single day. It only takes 10, 15 minutes. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to listen to me, right? But if we had a plan to get your home sold, get you to, again, going back to motivation, get you to Georgia in that time frame so you can be with your family, would it be worth just 15 minutes of your time? I have today at 4 or tomorrow at 5, open, which one is best for you? So again, lots of questions, but these are typical objections that they come up with, and that's the great thing about real estate, is these objections don't change. Depending on the type of market we're in, if it's a buyer's market or seller's market, some of them are better used than others, but odds are, you know, you're not going to hear an objection that throws you off. So if you know what their objections are, we just need 2 or 3 objection handlers to overcome it. All right, stay low key, but be persistent and consistent. So when you're calling expired, it's typically what's the mentality of an expired? Especially if it's day 1.
They're frustrated, they didn't sell,
They're
they've already
frustrated.
gotten 30 calls.
They've had 30 calls already? Okay, and you're all chipper and happy. Hi, this is Lloyd with Keller Williams Realty. How are you today? If you were mad, frustrated, would you really want to talk to somebody that was happy and chipper? That didn't sell their home? No. Okay, so when it says stay low key, you know, I read that as mirror and match. So if somebody says, hello, I want to mirror and match that. Remember the old movie Jerry Maguire? He had me at hello. Okay, so pay attention. Listen, how do they say hello? Is it hello? And I go, hello, this is Lloyd. They're like, hello, hello, this is Lloyd, local realtor. You know, I want to match that. Because if I don't, and they're mad, frustrated, and I'm all, you just want to, you know, I want to talk to them. Click. Make sense?
I can't stand those calls.
Which calls?
All of them?
I don't,
Let's talk about it.
I don't like to call on the day that someone expires.
Okay.
I like to call
That's fine.
a little bit
And
later.
someone else may have already called.
Sure.
It's okay though, if it's
That's
not on
okay.
the market,
Absolutely.
then they've cooled down, they're reasonable.
Right.
And you just have to say, I just sold your neighbor's home. And I just wanted you to know about that, and I see that you recently tried to sell your home. Are you still interested in selling?
Right.
I'd rather have that conversation.
And that's okay.
you know.
There's all different ways of processing.
It's all about perspective though, because for me, by you saying that, I'm cringing, because if I wasn't on that clock at 8 o'clock exactly, like if my leads weren't downloaded on time and I wasn't able to call right at 8 o'clock, I've already missed 10 people.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
you know, so to me, I want to get on them right away,
Right.
whereas, you know,
It's again how you want your business to look like, what
Right.
you're comfortable with. The important thing is you can have a strong, profitable business by both approaches.
right, it just depends on what you're comfortable
Okay.
with, for sure.
You can't have a strong, predictable, duplicatable if you don't do either of those.
Right.
Okay, so the point is call, knock, prospect, okay? So it's okay that you do that. Good. You know, that's your style. Okay? All I care about is it predictable? Is it duplicatable? Okay? And if you're doing that on a regular basis, it is. Is it a different approach to being the first person that calls them? Absolutely. Okay? Could that one pick up more business faster? Absolutely. But
In higher numbers, though.
yeah, but going back to, and this is the great thing about real estate, is what do you want your business to look like? Because she doesn't want her business to look like that. And that's okay, because it's her business. So I really wanted to show the differences of the two different approaches. Okay, it's what do you want your business to look like at the end of the day? Okay, and if you have big goals, okay, of selling a high number of homes, that approach may not work.
Right.
Okay, but you can still have a really great lifestyle. Okay, and that approach works fine. So at the end of the day, it comes back to what do you want your business to look like and what do you want to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm mostly concerned about when the market changes. Like, it's okay, well, all water's up, boats all rise.
I've heard that 22 years. Okay, I've heard
I'm
that
just saying,
22
my business
years.
personally, I'm worried about my business personally.
I've heard that 22 years. Well, not from you, but from other
From
agents.
everyone.
Okay, yeah. When the market's good, they're worrying about when it changes. When the market's bad, I have agents that the market's bad and they're worried about what's going to happen when it gets better. What kind of mentality is that? Okay, because what we did is, no, it wasn't REO. Okay, we sold the most homes, I think this is 2011, 2012. We sold the most homes in Metro Detroit. Okay, we did not have any large REO accounts. Okay, we saw the shift in the market, so we were working with expires. So they were afraid that, okay, when these expires dry up, the market gets better, what's our business going to look like? Okay, because we change. So don't worry about tomorrow, because we can't change what tomorrow is. But if you know your scripts and dialogues and you're paying attention to the market, you're adapting. And we'll adapt. Anytime the market changes, we're going to adapt with that. So don't worry about it. Okay? All right, we're running out of time, but meet in person. So I shared this with you last week, Mr. Michael Perno, all right? When he was building his business at first, before he had a team, before he had a marketing budget, he had to compete against some pretty big agents, all right? So instead of just calling each open in the world, he would knock on the door that expired. Okay, it's a lot better, a lot easier to get that expired when you're at the door versus calling. Okay, be ready for a listing presentation. Identify why the listing didn't sell. So again, showing value coming from contribution. Obviously show them that your experience with them is obviously going to be different. So we have some seller objections and scripts, and again, passed them out last week. So take a look at those. And I think that is it. There's a lead sheet on page, where do we go here? Our call sheet, page 1227, which you can copy and download. All right, 1231, there's a pre-listing lead sheet. Again, this will help you prepare for the appointment. Okay, so when you start getting appointments, we don't have time to get into it now, but you're going to want to pre-qualify. Pre-qualify the seller. What do we mean pre-qualify the seller?
Find out their motivation and their timeline.
The motivation and timeline, that's part of it. But it goes back to what you actually said earlier. Do I want to work with these people? Just because, especially for sale by owners, okay, because maybe I've been working this for sale by owners and now I got an appointment with them. Now I'm going to pre-qualify them. Okay, before I spend a couple hours, I want to invest in them. I want to find out, are they motivated? I'm pre-qualifying them if I want to work with them. Not if they want to give me the listing. Okay, I'm pre-qualified over the phone before I start doing work. Do I want to spend my time with them? Can I help them, really, is what it comes down to. And if they're unmotivated, I can't help them. You know, the scripts and dialogues are only work on motivated people. All right, 12-34, aim high. Obviously, this session here is critical to having a predictable, duplicatable business, one that's highly leveraged. Okay. where you don't have to be working 24 hours a day, where there'll be thousands of other agents that will help you sell that property. Okay, it's critical. So things that we need to do is find our lead generation sources. We mentioned it earlier. Your business doesn't have to look like another agent's business, but obviously we need to find the business. Go big with for sale by owners or expireds. Okay, and that changes with the market. So if you're a big expired agent listing agent, if you work with a lot of expireds a couple of years ago and you're not transitioning into calling more for sale by owners, you're missing the boat. And just as the market goes the other way eventually, and it will, cycles. Okay. 3, get deeply involved in chosen property type, demographic group. You know, what's your farm? What do you want to specialize in? Who do you want to work with? All right. Obviously, the lead generation focus is critical. How you lead generate with sellers, your scripts, listing skills, focus on their needs, and consistent communication, all set the tone for your future relationship with them. Do it right from the start, and you'll build a great business in the future. Whether they become a client in the next few days or many months from now, everything you do from day one establishes your lasting reputation with them. Ultimately, you are working for repeat and referral business. I always tell them in my listing presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, my goal here is, of course, to get your property sold. Okay? But my big goal is to do such a great job for you, you're going to want to refer me to all your friends and family because you'll trust me that I'm able to help them. All right? Because I don't make a living by just selling one home. Okay? I make a living, I grow a business by focusing on you, helping you get it sold, and you refer. So I'm setting from the beginning that I want the referrals, but I'm going to earn it too. Okay? And I'm not going to be afraid to ask for it when I'm doing my fair share. Okay, questions, comments? Sorry, we went over a few minutes. Okay, I'll be here for a few minutes. Guys, have any questions? Thanks for participating.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
My pleasure. If you have a couple ideas and strategies you can implement?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, I'll check this off. Do you need that for anything else?
I do. Great class. Good to
Yes.
see everybody.
Explain that again, how the session can go.